Moscow, Russia said on Friday. Although observers have seen very little movement, their troops are moving in every section of the Ukrainian front. The facade lines barely changed in 2023, but the fight remained intense. The last big flare point is Avdiivka, the almost besieged industrial town, which Ukraine said that it was saved from the attacks. Our soldiers are acting competently and determined, occupying a more appropriate position and expanding their control zones in all directions. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said on Friday. The ministry said on Wednesday that Kromov, a small village at the foot of Bakhmut in the eastern Donetsk region of Ukraine, has proved that Kromov has taken control. But other regional gains were difficult. Ukraine position of military forces. Sabrina Blanchard, Sophie Ramis, Nalini Lepetitchela, AFP. Ukrainian officials. Improvement of weather conditions at beginning of this week after intense storms in southern Ukraine and Russia. Russia's forces intensify attacks and reuse drones. He said. Moscow throws unity and equipment to town of Avdiivka, who fought in the war to surround and capture industrial center. Analysts said Ukraine's troops continue to defend Russian attacks, keeping the line. The city, which was once home to about 30,000 people, has been on front since 2014 and is part of Donetsk region, which Kremlin claims to have annexed with other 3 regions. In 2014, Russian-backed separatists fell to separatists and Ukraine built defenses and trenches to protect the city for last 9 years. Tarnovsky said his own attack on Ukraine in the South Melitopol sector in the south. Ukraine said that it holds the line in the East Roman Pilipi AFP before the expectations for another challenging winter. Ukraine is trying to talk about fatigue among Western partners and is afraid that help has dried up in a long-term dead end. Kiev has supported air defense systems since then, but admitted that he needed more weapons to protect the vulnerable areas, especially those close to the front lines. Ukraine said that Russian forces have set up an attack plane and 2 missiles designed by more than 24 of Iran in the south and east of the country overnight. Ukrainian soldiers are competing with Russian positions that are well defeated. Roman Pilipi AFP. The Air Force said that on Friday. 18 of the drones and a missile on the southern regions. Meanwhile, Russian Defense Ministry said that Moscow has destroyed Ukrainian sea drone on west coast of Crimea, which Moscow unilaterally annexed in 2014. Ukraine also said on Friday. Latest sabotage incident reported on Russian territory. A Russian railway line in Siberia, thousands of kilometers from front of front. He said attacks. The Russians fell into the trap of SBU twice. Another fuel train on the Baikal-Amur railway exploded. Said. There was no public reaction from Russian immediately. But at the beginning of this week, Moscow Con.